Hey Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Tampines Rovers
Thank you,
in
no
the
problem.
news of late quite a bit. Not necessarily for the right reasons, I guess, but how's the mood like in Tashkent, man?
I mean, obviously after the loss against Jeonbuk, the team hasn't after the first game. Obviously, after the first day of the defeat, it was definitely hard to take. But if I know a team that can bounce back, it's obviously my team, Tampines. With such strong characters in the team, and Yasir, big players are stepping up. Danny, everyone is helping us recover from the loss. Really just onto the next. Really can't dwell on the past. Take a lot of learning lessons, but onto the next. Really, nothing much you can do already as of right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I personally, I thought a lot of the reaction was a bit of an overreaction. A lot of the comments, some of them were a bit of an overreaction without fully understanding the context
Yeah,
of where Singapore is at the moment, where Tampines Rovers are, who they're competing against, resource-wise, and things like that. I think perhaps people needed to calm down a little bit, and some were contradicting themselves. People were talking about how good you guys were after the first two matches. Competing, showing that you could compete at this level, and then after one result, it's like, oh no, we're in crisis mode again, and everything's a disaster. What can we do? And there's all kinds of talk about different sorts of things, and it's especially when I think ex players talk about it. It's like as if you haven't suffered a heavy defeat of your
yeah,
own.
of course.
I think you would have a bit more compassion for people who are currently playing. But I guess that's the way it is. Everyone likes to think that when I was playing in my time, back in my day, it was a lot better. We fought for this, we fought for that. Things were harder. I had to push myself more. I personally don't buy that at all. I think every
Of course.
generation has its different sorts of challenges. But I mean, the reason why we've got you on, Mark, as well is you're 19 years of age. You're playing the AFC Champions League, and we often hear from lots of older people about the state of football in Singapore. We want to hear from you basically because you guys, you're the next generation. You are the future. I just want to know what your opinion is about how what support can be given to young players developing in Singapore.
I mean, of course, number one has to be family and friends. I think that's one of the biggest support a player can get. I think that's very, very necessary and very important. But another big thing that, like, emotionally wise, has to be the fans.
Mm,
Sometimes you see the fans
mm,
not really backing you, and kind of hurts a little bit. Sometimes knowing that when they're only there when you win, and when you lose, they don't want to be a part of. They don't want to be supporting you. They don't show that. So obviously, it's difficult. And I think now, as a footballer, the support needed. I think most important is just having more games. You see, I now with the COVID situation, the younger boys, they don't even have any game time. They don't have any leagues going on.
mm, mm,
So it's difficult. And
mm.
now most of my old teammates that I used to play with, if they don't have a club, they're out. They don't play anymore. They don't train. They're out of fitness. And all of them used to be top players as well, like talented players, and now they're out because there isn't any more leagues and no leagues for them to prove to go into the first team. So obviously that's very difficult. And obviously COVID hasn't helped it at all. So yeah, I think honestly it's just a game time at this point. Like for now, it's really just game time and getting support from the fans and back in like having the support needed. Yeah.
I just want to pick on a point that you brought up, Mark. Speaking of support from the fans, we spoke to Gav and he said the younger players are all about social media. They are always on it more than the older players, right? But
Of course.
there's social media can go both ways. There can be good things that are said, there can be bad things that are said. As a player, talk me through. You obviously will be on Instagram, Twitter, and all that. What are the impact that all this feedback, be it negative or positive, has on a player?
I mean, of course, after the first game against Gamba, there was a lot of positive comments on how we played. And obviously the comments, it kind of like helped us, even though we lost, it was very nice to see that the fans actually, they recognize that we did put up a good fight. That there was things to be improved, obviously. But knowing that the fans was going to be there for you, they were backing us. That was very nice, like it was very positive. It definitely helped the team's morale. Like all of us were really genuinely very, very happy. But I think, and then the negative sides, obviously, you don't even want to look at it. It's just like everyone trying to put you down. I don't know what. Sometimes I don't know what the fans are just trying to say. I don't know what they're trying to like. What they imply. It's really just negative. Like they just like it's like they're waiting to say that. They just want to say that.
So do you have a group chat where you share screenshots of these good comments as well as bad comments? I have to ask you that.
Normally the good comments we laugh about it, but the negative ones we kind of just put it aside really.
And do you think that's a cultural problem then? Because apart from now being a player, when Singapore played, you would have been a Singapore fan. I mean, a future player, but a Singapore fan as well. You would have seen some of the comments. I read them and I was like, why? Why are they being so knee-jerk? Like Roshan said earlier, they don't understand the reality of the situation, and that's a big problem, right?
Of course.
And
we talked about very unnecessary.
And you also talked about family support. Obviously, your dad is a well-known name in the local fraternity. Is there a group chat where there's a family chat going on where he's given you words of encouragement, or has he even called up and spoken to you while you're away in Tashkent now?
He knows when to talk to me, especially after the loss. He actually waited a day before he messaged me. So he messaged me the next night because he wanted me to just relax. So he didn't really message me after the game immediately. And I think he knows I think as a footballer, he knows that I wouldn't want to, he didn't want to disturb me in a sense. Yeah, but my dad always just told me just ignore the haters, man. I just try to. There's no point, you can't entertain them. What's the point? You never win them. So just ignore, relax.
Yeah, and I think that's right. And I think they're always going to be working in television as well. People are going to be out there saying, this guy, what's he talking about, this, that, and the other. There are going to be disagreements. There'll be criticism thrown your way as well. And you can choose to focus on that. You can choose to use that to drive you, which I don't. I choose to focus on the fact that I'm doing this thing because I like it, because I enjoy it. And if that's any sort of advice, and you exactly, I see you agreeing with that. And do it for yourself, do it for the people that you love, do it for the people that support you. And just because it makes you happy at the end of the day. I mean, haters are not going to stop you from doing what you do. I just want to go back to the point about, you mentioned earlier about bouncing back and moving forward and looking ahead to the next game. What has it been like working with Gavin, and what's he been trying to do over the last few days or so to try and raise morale within the squad?
Obviously, working with Gavin has been, for me, I really, really enjoy it. I've learned so much over the past few months. I'm definitely improving as a player. He's taught me so much. Obviously, top. He's a top coach. Learning a lot from the senior players, learning from him. Individual clips he sends after every game. He analyzes all the players. How should I improve as a player? Really, just as a you just you want that as a player. Know that your coach is analyzing you. He's giving you the best feedback you can get. And honestly, that's I think from now that's the benchmark for me now. In the future, if I work with a different coach, it's gonna be tough, And I think for the team's morale as well, I think it's not just Gav doing a lot of it. It's a lot of the players as well, the senior players helping. Because they're definitely the personalities and characters in this team is very, very good. Everyone's stepping up, not just Yasser. Everyone is, showing that you don't have to be a captain to help the team. Anyone can do it. Even young boys can help the senior players. Give a little joke here and there, little things like that, and really just boost the whole team. So I think, of course.
And Rosh, I just want to check in with you at this point. Marc is playing in the ACL, but in a very different format because of COVID. The 6 games are compressed and they played over 2-3 weeks, which is difficult. And then Rosh, when you played in the ACL, it was like a normal competition would be like. You play home and away, and then in between you come back and play in the league. So I just want to understand how that plays a part, because, for example, after a loss like that, if you come back and gain some confidence in the league, it makes a difference for your next Champions League game. Now, Tampines Rovers don't have that liberty, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. So, is that a bigger issue than it should be?
It's tough. It's tough for these guys. As you mentioned, completely different formats, and I feel a little bit sorry for them. I've touched on it in previous episodes about how I feel sorry for the Tampines Rovers players, because they're stuck in one place. It's play a match, go train, come back to the hotel. You're not going out to different venues, different countries. Like, for example, we went out to Japan, went out to China, went out to Korea to play, and to play in front of fans as well. That also has a big impact on your motivation levels, on your performance levels overall. And as you mentioned, Raushan, if you suffer a defeat, for example, you go away from the competition, you come back to domestic competition, and that becomes sort of your focus. Whereas for these guys, the games are coming thick and fast. And Tampines Rovers don't have a big squad in terms of that depth, in terms of that quality available to them. So if you've got little knocks and little injuries and things like that, and trying to maintain the intensity level, these are all challenges that they'll be facing over there. These are all the challenges that Gavin will be facing over there. The challenges themselves will be facing over there. And, coming back into this situation where they got back-to-back games against Jeonbuk, who, by the way, last season's payroll in the K-League was $15.4 million US. Okay, that's top in the K-League. Four-time K-League winners. 4 times in a row K-League winners. I mean, maybe Mark, I don't want you to reveal your salary here, but I really don't think Tampines are anywhere close to Jeonbuk's payroll. So see, these are the differences, right? The discrepancies and where the sort of levels and the standards really are. And these are the challenges that Tampines are facing at the moment. And I think that side has sometimes been really lost in these knee-jerk reactions to that solitary result against Jeonbuk.
Mark, anything to add on the troubles you are facing in terms of this compressed version of this competition?
It's too much to ask for, in my opinion. 3 days and then you're playing your next game. It's too little. Like even in the league, like if we were to play in like 3-4 days, you complain, and here we are playing against top opponents every 3 days. It's really so much to ask for. How do you play this many games? I really question. I don't. You can see the senior players are definitely all tired. Everyone is tired. It's difficult, and then recovery is so important. The food we intake, the amount of like electrolytes and vitamins we take in is also very important. At the end of the day,
and above all this, you are juggling school, because before we started this, you told me you are also attending classes. How are you doing this?
It's tough. Sometimes I'm lucky that I don't have many morning classes, because I would have to wake up earlier because it's 3 hours behind. So thank God my classes are just nice. It's more or less doing my breaks when I'm in the hotel, so kind of fits in very well. But when I get to take a nap, for example, I take it. And then recovery is important. So, but I'm just very grateful, lucky. Yeah, that school is like at the right time.
Has Dan Bennett been stepping up to be your tutor over there? No, he's old enough to be your father.
Yeah. No, I just stay in my room by myself, just focus.
Hey, but Tashkent aside, even being a professional footballer in the SPL, juggling school, juggling training, I think Rosh, you did this while you were at Balestier as well. How difficult is that? And is that something that the support is lacking, or is that something you have to do for yourself because you need something to fall back on, so to speak?
You need to. I think you need to. I'll get Mark's thoughts on this in a bit, but I think it's something you definitely need to. Football is a short career. Football in Singapore as well. We know what the ecosystem and the structure is like. It's not like you play for a few years and you can retire. And in fact, sometimes opinions about that are skewed around the world, because really it's only like maybe the top 1% or the 5% of players in the world who are making lots and lots of money. So planning for your future is an essential part of your career development. And as a professional footballer, you get a lot of free time, in a sense. You train maybe once or twice a day, and then you've got a lot of free time in there. So I'd encourage younger players to think of steps that they can take and go and study, go and take up a course, or go and do something where you can improve yourself a little bit, so that you've got a bit of a future after the game. And I'm sure, Mark would feel the same way about that.
Yeah, of course. I think, like you said, we only train once or twice a day, and we have so much time. And I don't know, I watch so many talks, and like how people say you have to be working the whole day. You can't just work a little bit and expect everything to come. So I don't complain being a student and playing football, because I have the time. Some school is for me, Polytechnic is literally sometimes less than 5 hours a day. And honestly, if I don't go to school, I don't know what I'll be doing. I'm not going to just stay at home and sleep. So I don't mind school. Yeah, it's tiring, of course, but sometimes school finishes, I start school maybe 9 to 1, and then I still have time to rest before I go for training. So it works out for me. Yeah, it's tiring. It's difficult to do my work, but I have time. It's not saying I don't have time. Everyone has the same amount of time in the day. I'm pretty sure there's more people working harder than me. So I think there's
I-
more positive to take out of it.
Exactly. I think it's all about mindset, right? And I think you got the right mindset,
Exactly.
and that's why you're in Tashkent now representing Tampines Rovers. So just before we go, we talk about development and stuff like that. I just need to speak about something which has dominated Singapore football's headlines recently, under 23 ruling. We've heard a lot about the older players or managers and coaches talk about it. I haven't per se heard about a younger player talk about it. For example, one who has benefited from that rule. You are certainly one of those. And since then, you are there on merit. So what are your thoughts on the under 23 rule?
I don't support it. I never did. Even before the rule, I don't think it should have even came up in the first place. I talked to my dad multiple times about it. It takes away the drive for young players like me. Like, where's the fighting? Where's the fighting spirit supposed to come in? Like, I'm supposed to fight for my place in the team. I'm supposed to show coach that I deserve my spot in the team. Yeah. If you're young, it doesn't matter. But now the fact that the rule is here, like you're seeing like the older players getting benched, like knowing that like sometimes like I see, for example, like there was one game that I put Yasir on the bench. It was, for me it's a bit like, do I really deserve it? I ask myself that question. Like, do I deserve it? Like, really, I put the national team captain on the bench. Like, it's like it's too much to ask. And sometimes you see like other teams as well, where you see a top player on the bench because of his under 23 rule. So I personally, I never supported it. Yeah, it benefits me a lot because I get more playing time, obviously. But the drive, the drive is where you improve as a player. You work so hard. You will work too much harder in training if you had to fight for your place. But now they're just given to you like on a silver plate. It's not really like the same feeling that you would get. I mean, I'm grateful, obviously, but in terms of improving as a whole, I don't think it should be there. Really shouldn't.
I mean, your mentality is outstanding, and it's testament to where you are now and how far you're going to go in the game, man. Thank you so much for taking time to speak to us, Mark. We really enjoyed this.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
We're all rooting for you, so good luck for the rest of the competition.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.